Hello, this is September 27th and we are now into the 26th Sunday service. My name is Mike Zahari. I'm an executive of the Church of Scientology, Mission of Riverdale. Bob Hill is away this weekend. We'll be back next weekend. What I'm going to be covering today is the subject of how to be great or greatness. And I'm going to define a couple words first off, and then we're going to get into listening to a particular article, or I'm going to read a particular article. Now, Scientology is defined as the subject of knowing how to know. So this is what we're going to be presupposing this on. If you know more about it, then you can be more cause with it. Greatness is defined as a state of being powerful and influential, very good, able to do something very well. That would be greatness. Sanity is the ability to recognize differences, similarities, and identities. It is the measure of how ably the individual assists things which assist survival and inhibit things which inhibit survival. It's rationality. Things that are today are not the same things as things from yesterday. Today is today. Yesterday is yesterday. Next word, love. Love is showing admiration. Affinity, which is another way of defining it, is the willingness to be in the same space as the thing which is loved or liked. Okay, so we're going to be covering what is greatness. Now, greatness could be supposed to be something belonging to other people. Other people do that. Other people are good at it, not me. I'm not up to that. I'm not able. It's not true. It's not true at all. Everybody starts with the same deck of cards, pretty much. Some have more cards or the cards are bigger. That's fine, granted. But you all have the same capabilities. Every single one of you has the ability to be and apply greatness to your fellow man. And I'm going to define what is greatness. So I just want you to think with that. It's like, it's not something that, great, yes, it would be good, but not me. No, I don't want you to think that way. Everybody has their own potential, and you have the potential to be great as well. So here we go. What is greatness? The hardest task one can have is to continue to love his fellow man despite all reasons he should not. And the true sign of sanity and greatness is to so continue. For the one who can achieve this, there is abundant hope. For those who cannot, there is only sorrow, hatred, and despair. And these are not the things of which greatness or sanity or happiness are made. A primary trap is to succumb to invitations to hate. So people do things around you, some of the things you like, some of the things you don't like. Okay? But that doesn't mean you couldn't love your fellow man as your fellow man. He's got his motivations as well. You have your motivations, they have their motivations. You find out what they are, you can better understand him, you can better understand the reason why he did what he did. And it only occurs if you continue to love your fellow man. If you hate your fellow man, you put a barrier there. I'll continue. For those, there are those who appoint one their executioners. Sometimes for the sake of safety of others, it is necessary to act, but it is not also necessary to hate them. Sometimes people correct you for things. Don't now consider that that person is your enemy. Maybe he was looking out for your well-being. Maybe he was seeing things in you that were bigger than you saw yourself, and he's pushing you to them. Take a look at that. To do one's task without being furious at others who seek to prevent one is a mark of greatness and sanity. And only then can one be happy. Seeking to achieve any single desirable quality in life is a noble thing. The one most difficult and most necessary to achieve is to love one's fellows despite all invitations to do otherwise. You do have to love your fellow man. Be willing to walk in his shoes. Be willing to duplicate his viewpoint. If there is any saintly quality, it is not to forgive. Forgiveness accepts the badness of the act. There is no reason to accept it. Further, one has to label the act as bad to forgive it. Forgiveness is a much lower level action and is rather sensuous. So if somebody wants you to forgive them for having done something wrong, you're just acknowledging further that they've done wrong by forgiving them for having done wrong. Why don't you just find out what it is that they did and why they did it, and understand them and love them for what it is that their motivations were, and then take them moving them forward in life. Okay? True greatness merely refuses to change in the face of bad actions against one. And a truly great person loves his fellows because he understands them. People do things and they affect you. Don't have enemies far and wide. Just understand them and continue on. After all, they are all on the same track. Some are oblivious of it. Some have gone mad because of it. Some act like those who betrayed them. But all are in the same trap. The generals, the street sweepers, the presidents, the insane. They act the way they do because they are all subject to the same cruel pressures of this universe. Some of us are subject to these pressures and still go on doing our jobs. Others have long since succumbed and rave and torture and strut like the demented souls they are. They've gone into agreement with the things that are bad about this universe, which is not a survival thing, not for them or those around them. We can at least understand the one fact that greatness does not stem from savage wars or being known. It's acts. It stems from being true to one's own decency, from going on helping others, whatever they say or think or say, whatever they do or think or say, and despite all savage acts against one. To persevere without changing one's basic attitude toward man. If you've ever been involved in an accident or somebody who's in a bad way, they are not very sane when they're talking to you. They lash out with the most unbelievable things. Don't take it personally. Continue to love the person for who he is and get him over this particular rough spot. Okay? To that degree, true greatness depends on total wisdom. They act as they do because they are what they are, trapped beings, crushed beneath an intolerable burden, and life can present burdens. And if they have gone mad for it and command the devastation of whole nations in errors of explanation, still, one can understand why and can understand as well the extent of their madness. Why should one change and begin to hate just because others have lost themselves and their own destinies are too cruel for them to face? This does not mean you stand by passively and let them merrily take away your rights or do whatever. You do stand up. You do strike a right, the rights of man or freedoms of speech and liberty and all of the rest of it. But the guy's got some strange motivations, because if his motivations were correct and true, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. But he's got to be taken out of the loop. Justice, mercy, forgiveness are all unimportant beside the ability not to change because of provocation or demands to do so. Maintain your viewpoint of the love and like for your fellow man. One must act, one must preserve order and decency, but one need not hate or seek vengeance. It is true that beings are frail and commit wrongs. Man is basically good, but man can act badly. He only acts badly when his acts done for order and for the safety of others are done with hatred. His motivation is not correct. Or when his disciplines are founded only upon safety for himself, regardless of all others, or worse, when he acts only out of the taste for cruelty. That's a bad thing. To persevere, I'll give you that again, to preserve no order at all is an insane act. One need only look at the possessions and environment of the insane to realize this. The able keep good order. When cruelty in the name of discipline dominates a race, that race has been taught to hate, and that race is doomed. The real lesson is to learn to love. He who would walk scatheless through his days must learn this, must never use what is done to one as a basis for hatred. Never desire revenge. It requires real strength to love man, and to love him despite all invitations to do otherwise, all provocations and reasons why one should not. Happiness and strength endure only in the absence of hate. To hate alone is the road to disaster. To love is the road to strength. To love in spite of all is the secret of greatness, and may very well be the greatest secret of this universe. So you have this within you. have this within you to be great, and you can splurge on it. You can be great to the degree that you desire. Pick on your own areas that you would like to improve and better. Find who's in there. Duplicate what they're all about. Have affinity for them. Be willing to operate in their own space. Make a change. I can now read the Creed of the Church of Scientology. We of the Church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights. That all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance. Now this is their own religious practices and performance. This may be our creed, but this means that every religion everywhere has the right to exist. Please pay attention to that. That all men have inalienable rights to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights to their sanity. That all men have inalienable rights to their own defense. That all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, or governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely, their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind. That the souls of man have the rights of men. That the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields. It is only when you've discounted the possibility of man's spirituality that it moves over into the area of medicine. It does not belong there. And that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights, overtly or covertly. And we of the Church believe that man is basically good, and that he is seeking to survive. That his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the Church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the Church believe that the Spirit alone can be saved, and that the Spirit alone may save or heal the body. Now, we talked about greatness, and we talked about the ability to love and do things for your fellow man. Not everybody has those rights on this particular planet. And some of them are oppressed and don't know that they're oppressed. Some of them are oppressed and know darn well they're oppressed. So I'm going to read the Scientology prayer for total freedom for all of those individuals, and for us to keep in mind that our human rights exist because we maintain them. We demand that they continue to be there. They can be taken away by people of ill intent. So here we go. May the author of the universe enable all men to reach an understanding of their spiritual nature. May awareness and understanding of life expand, so that all may come to know the author of the universe, and may others also reach this understanding which brings total freedom. At this time, we think of those whose liberty is threatened, of those who have suffered imprisonment for their beliefs, and of those who are enslaved or martyred, and for all those who are brutalized, attacked, or trapped. We pray that human rights will be preserved, so that all people may believe and worship freely, so that freedom will once again be seen in our land. Freedom from war and poverty and want, freedom to be, freedom to do, freedom to have. Freedom to use and understand man's potential, a potential that is God-given and God-like. And freedom to achieve and understand that understanding and awareness that is total freedom. May God let it be so. Thank you.